How did Paloma come to be?
Paloma, first the name of the girl, Paloma, came to me, and then the idea sort of spawned from there. Basically, when Rodrigo asked me to do a second season of Blue, I was watching more of the shows on the WIGS channel, and I came up with an idea for my own show, and I asked if I could write it and direct it, and they said yes. Action.
And what was it that you were interested in exploring?
I had been kind of ruminating on love and like what love is all about, and the precariousness of love, and how two people can be really, really close, and then that can just go away in an instant, or quicker than we would hope.
Don't roll your eyes at me.
Relationships are fluid and always changing, and the more that you try and solidify them, hold on to it, it's like mercury that will slip through your fingers.
You're bored already?
In an unideal world. I mean, I would like to think that there are better examples of that.
Tell us about episode 1, the meeting. Tell us what you intended there and what happens, and how you feel about that.
The reason that I kept the sound out for, or at least what they're saying to each other out for the first bit of the episode, is because it was all about this connection that these two people have that is without words, and it makes the rest of the world kind of dissolve. It's that intangible, unexplainable thing that makes two people attracted to each other, and not just in a totally superficial way, but also just something that connects them.
Just try it.
I'll try anything once. And
then the episode ends with, now their relationship has advanced, and Paloma's being kind of provocative, because I like the idea of, it's unexpected that this young woman would be speaking so provocatively about sex, and she's also toying with trying to get his attention.
I watched some porn.
So, in terms of relationship, what about the second episode?
Second episode. So I introduce Paloma's boss. They work in an environment where the strict rules about what the boundaries of their relationship should be as boss and employee are kind of blurry. So they're flirtatious with each other, and her job description is a little bit unconventional. She's buying drugs for him. But they obviously like each other, and I always thought that it should almost be like they're really good friends.
Well, might I remind you, this isn't a paid internship.
Could be. If you stopped asking so many questions.
It's like they have a camaraderie that in a different world, who knows, they could be dating.
You're good. I'm keeping you.
And also, Paloma's excited because she's good at her job, and her boss is recognizing that she's good at her job. And then that kind of attention and excitement from attention starts to affect her romantic relationship with Tiago. So then the following scene, because of her own, where she's coming from, she's projecting all of these questions and concerns to her boyfriend, largely based on what's going on in her own head, as opposed to what Tiago's actually doing.
Who are you texting?
Yes. Oh, my friend Mariah is having a party tonight in Brooklyn.
Did you guys hook up?
She starts bringing up the idea of threesome.
I've made out with girls.
She's talking herself into this corner because she's not addressing her own feelings about her boss, or I don't know. It's just she's projecting a lot of her own issues onto her relationship, and it seems fun in episode 2, but it also is the kind of thing that's going to become kind of disastrous later.
So basically, in episode 2, her thoughts reveal her character, her insecurities, and they start to impact what's going on with Tiago, which in some ways is quite innocent. Because he's much more open than she is, correct?
Well, I think one thing that Tiago does in episode 2 that we'll repeat later, on both sides of it, Paloma's side and Tiago's side, she's asking about this girl, Mariah, that he's texting, and he refuses to play into this neurotic insecurity. He doesn't reassure her, like, oh, don't worry, he kind of laughs it off. And so already their miscommunication, although it's fun at this point, is something that's going to be causing problems.
If you want to have a threesome with someone, that's fine.
What are you talking about?
She's begging for this kind of reassurance, and he's not going to give it to her.
So let's do a what if. So let's say he immediately assuaged her fears about this, and he said, oh, this is an ex-girlfriend. She's probably just trying to come on and bring me back. But it's never going to happen. What would have happened?
I probably wouldn't have. I don't know what would have happened. I don't think it would have helped much because I think at this point, Paloma's also playing this role of who she thinks is attractive to her boyfriend, but it's inauthentic, which is also something that can cause problems in a relationship.
Right, episode 3.
Episode 3, we start with Paloma and Tiago talking about going to this art opening that Paloma is supposed to go to at the gallery that she works at, and Tiago doesn't want to go.
I'm not gonna force you.
Those parties are all the same.
This one might be fun.
Doubt it.
Whether it's conscious or unconscious, she wants him to go because she needs it to be safer for her to go to work. If she gets these two men in the same room, hopefully things will make sense and she won't have to make a choice or take responsibility for anything. Of course, that ends up blowing up in her face because when she does finally get them all in the same room, she can't manage everything.
This is Tiago.
Ah, the roommate.
Is that what she calls me?
No, of course not, no.
And that scene I actually thought of at the last minute before we started shooting. It was originally not in the script, but I thought, of course, I can't believe I left out a scene where the three of them are in the same room together. Finally, episode 4. So, I love the idea of playing around with what a character chooses not to say.
I wish you would have called. Or walk down the fucking hallway!
So, to me, everything can be sort of summed up in episode 4 when Tiago says in Portuguese, I love you, very clearly.
Te amo tanto, minha gatinha, gata mia.
And Paloma's supposed to say the exact same thing back, but instead of saying I love you, she says,
I adore you.
she doesn't say I love you. And what does that mean? Even though Paloma's intention is to say something very loving, I adore you, and she does really feel that way, it just falls short of the mark, and it's not what Tiago was expecting or wanting to hear.
So the resolution of episode 4 is?
The resolution of episode 4, well, there is no resolution. I mean, the relationship has fallen apart at that point, and it was just in one moment where Tiago is asking her a very direct question and she doesn't want to dignify the question with an answer.
I need to know if you're fucking him.
Even if nothing happened, there's a huge rift in the closeness between the two of them.
She hesitates.
She hesitates with an answer. She doesn't reassure Tiago, no, absolutely nothing happened, because whether or not anything physically happened, the thought was there.
I'm not gonna answer that.
If Tiago and Paloma had had that dinner months before, they could end up married. But then also that calls into question whether or not that would actually be a good idea, because the relationship was already sort of crumbling, and you can't, just by producing a ring box, you can't hold on to it.
So would it be fair to say that the power of a thought is enough to destroy or distort or imbalance a relationship?
Yes, that I always thought that, like, if I had to have a tagline for the story, it would be that just a thought can corrode a relationship or destroy a relationship.